During times of bereavement or tragedy, according to Jewish teaching, it is mostly impossible and insensitive to wish a happy celebration. Instead, we wish meaningful days on fasts or the dawn of healing and reparation. I'm mindful that for many, this Christmas cannot be happy. Aside from all manner of local concerns surrounding costs of living, for anyone who looks to the Holy Land at this time, helplessness or horror and many other profound emotions eclipse any possible feelings of happiness. The loss of life in Gaza is shocking, and the conditions for those living there appalling. I really do believe that God cares for every living soul and mourns the loss of every single life. I believe this of the innocent, but Jewish teaching even extends to the belief that God mourns the loss of the lives of enemy combatants. For every human being is God's creation and in God's image. I believe that God will hold to account every action and failure. But that is no real comfort to the widow or orphan, the bereft parent, to the tens of thousands of homeless families for whom a lifetime's accumulation lies burned or buried under rubble. Particularly at this season, I acknowledge the many Christian Palestinians, those living in fear and hunger and without shelter, those fearing for their safety and the safety of their places of worship. I acknowledge with profound grief those who will spend this year bereft. To all of you, I wish you peace. May God give you comfort and peace. How can anyone talk of happiness against this backdrop? I'd like to especially thank the few Christian friends with whom I've spent over 30 years in interfaith dialogue for reaching out to me after the Hamas terrorist attacks on October 7th. Your words of consolation after the invasion of quiet villages and a music festival, the rape of women and children, the savage and indiscriminate murders, and the abduction of innocent hostages was touching and offered comfort. And not just Christians. Remarkably and laudably, I received some truly frank and moving messages of support from Muslims of humanity and integrity. Thank you all for reaching out. Others have only been in touch more recently, wondering when my people will stop the indiscriminate killing or depose a democratically elected Prime Minister. I've been preached at. There has to be a different way to defeat terror, I'm told, by people whose children and families are not exposed to it daily. I'd like to help with that different way. Please do direct your messages to everyone who supports Hamas and everyone who keeps trying to buy them time to rearm and redeploy. Please do direct your messages to all those who give Hamas money or credibility. Hamas hold over 130 hostages. Hamas broke the agreements they had made over the last humanitarian pause and denied hostages the Red Cross visits they had been promised, and Hamas refused to pass on agreed medical support. Ending the period of non-aggression, Hamas broke the pause and resumed firing unguided rockets into Israeli civilian areas, using rocket launchers positioned in close proximity to homes, hospitals, kindergartens, and places of worship. If Hamas could but agree to release the hostages it unlawfully seized, and stop firing into Israeli sovereign territory truly indiscriminately into civilian populations of Jews, Christians, and Muslims in Israeli towns and cities, so much of this horror could have been avoided, and so much we still fear could yet be averted. But when you call me to place the responsibility for resolution on Israel and the Jewish people, surrender your children and accept their loss, it just feels like so much historic anti-Semitism. This is a time for happy families to join together. I wish all Christian friends a meaningful celebration. I pray that God will bring his peace over the Holy Land and all dwellers on earth. May this season be one where our prayers for salvation are answered, where life and the sanctity of life is celebrated, where those I love and where those I've never met can spend their days without fear, where we can be faithful servants to our God and not hostages to terror. May the new year be a dawn of redemption and of healing.